Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, yes, we are returning to the my favorite WWF LJN tournament. So, as per usual, every 12 videos, we do change the location of the filming. So, the last 12 videos, we were back in the area where the backdrop featured the LJN custom wall. So now we're just, I don't even know what the heck I even describe this area, man. I just kind of, I don't know, the catch-all. I mean, this is kind of like the Gladiators and Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles. I mean, this is, like I said, this is kind of like the little catch-all area. Horror section, I mean, whatever. It's another featured area of the room, so this is another area I figured I might want to show off. I think once I get to probably the last 12 videos, or approximately last 12 videos, I want to have the main original 12, or the main LJN display. That's the last set of videos I want to do. So yeah, man. So I to be honest, I'm probably going to be posting these videos out of order. I have just completed round 2. As of the filming of this video, I have just completed round 2. I have not posted the remaining few episodes of round 2, but man, I am like super excited. After making my video, my live show, and I'm like, man, I am so downtrodden right now. I'm not even sure I want to even continue the tournament. But after getting in those last several episodes of round 2, the enthusiasm has been sparked. Those last few episodes, I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like I said, that second round of the LGN tournament was incredible. I don't think I've been so enthusiastic about any round of any tournament, and the fact that it was only the second round was, it felt like every episode was a semifinals or a finals video. That's how impactful every episode felt like. So I am enthusiastic like crazy to get into this third round. Is it going to be as impactful? God, I hope so. But that just means every episode is probably going to be back to like 45 minutes or longer, because I just have no idea how I'm going to select each winner moving forward. But only 10 episodes in round 3. And of course, once we get in round 4, we're down to 5 episodes. So it's going to be a lot easier, from at least as far as videos are concerned. It's going to be a lot easier moving forward. So again, I'm probably going to be posting these out of order. Right now, as of filming, the plan is at the conclusion of round 2, I plan on posting a My 10, which is what you see over there in the corner, which is basically the 10 figures that I feel like have the best opportunity of winning this tournament. You may see a handful of those figures get eliminated in this third round. You may see 1 or 2. You may see none. You may see all of them. Don't think for a second that just because so-and-so figure has won a previous 2 tournaments that he ain't going to be eliminated at any point in this tournament. Any figure is capable of winning. That's the fun part about this tournament. I brought it up several times already. There have been so many changes already to this tournament. Things that I've coveted in the past tournaments have already significantly changed. Previous winners are not going forward like they have in past. Obvious losers, or insignificant figures, for lack of a better term, that have not made it very far in previous tournaments are making an impact in this tournament, and you're seeing them moving further and further in this tournament. So this tournament is significantly different from previous tournaments, and I'm freaking getting a kick out of this tournament. So I'm really enjoying it. So hopefully the viewers at home are enjoying this as much as I am. So let's dive into today's video and kind of see what's going on. The first matchup is going to feature Cactus Jack. Man, didn't we just look at Cactus Jack in the last video? But Cactus Jack, I'm going to shuffle this because Cactus Jack, he will do battle against Big John Studd. One of my favorites to win. And obviously enough, or oddly enough, Big John Studd wasn't in my 10. Go figure. Next one is USA Kirchner. And Kirchner is going to do battle against Random Treasures Smash. Next up is going to feature, also from Random Treasures, Abdullah the Butcher, as he will do battle against Black Honky Tonk Man. That's actually going to be Honky Tonk Man from Raider Nation. Last one up is going to be another Abdullah the Butcher. This one is going to be from Wrestling Rider, and he will do battle against another Wrestling Rider figure, Rick Martel. Alright, so I will pause, pull the figures, and we will begin momentarily. Alright. So, first battle. And this is a solid beginning first matchup to round 3 as Big John Studd takes on Cactus Jack. And we will start with Big John Studd. Man, like I said, man, Big John Studd. Here's the thing, man. Big John Studd always does extremely well in my tournaments. First time around, he was a finalist. And when I did my 10, my last video, when I talked about my 10, I did not have him on my list of potential winners. I don't know if Big John Studd in this tournament, even though I've coveted him for so long, and I figured that, you know, this man, he made it to my finals in the first tournament. The second time he was back in the semifinals, he went up against the same exact figure that he defeated the first time around to make it to the finals, and I didn't push him forward to move back to the finals again. So what was it about it the second time go that I didn't enjoy that made him lose that second time around? There was something about it that I just didn't like. Well, I don't want to say I didn't like, but there was something a little bit more special about the other figure. So now here we are in the third tournament, and now I don't even have him in my 10. I don't know if Big John Studd makes it to my semifinals, let alone my finals. And now he's going against an absolute premier figure that I absolutely covet. Does Big John Studd make it out of my third round? Well, let's go over the things I've always talked about every time I talk about Big John Studd. Well, we'll go over the basics. What is the one figure I've always coveted my entire life? Sid Vicious. Galoob is a rendition of LJN after all. LJN came out in 1984, 1985 for those that sometimes brush it off as a year later. But I like to look at Series 1 as 84. Galoob 1990, okay. 84, 85, LJN Series 1, Galoob 1990, Sid Vicious, and Big John Studd. Series 1, both Series 1 figures, both very similar poses. Sid Vicious is, after all, my George Washington of action figures. That is why I've always coveted this figure. because it's very similar play pose. But Big John Studd is also a character that I didn't exactly grow up watching. I've always known the name, been familiar with him. I mean, I've probably seen him in like Coliseum videos, so I've obviously been, like I said, been familiar with the name, been familiar with the character, but I can't necessarily say I grew up watching him per se. He's got a very simple color scheme, so it's not like it's not something that's very flashy and jumps out at you. But the thickness, the grip, the playability, I've always loved the way that this guy comes in. He's like, to me, Big John Studd is like, when you look at the LJN action figures, this guy is like the Superman of the LJN line. He's just an absolute brute force. I kind of feel like he just comes in. If the LJNs, if you turn LJN like into like an actual cartoon or something, I just feel like this is just the guy that comes in and just beats up everybody type of deal. Like the bully of the group. Not Hogan, not Andre, no. Not Bundy, it's Studd. So I've always coveted this figure, and I've really enjoyed it. And even though he's never won my LJN tournaments, I've always rated him as my number one favorite figure. My number one favorite LJN figure. But after this third LJN tournament, I might have to realign my top 10 favorites. And he may no longer be number one. He may not be number 2, 3, 4, maybe not even be in the top 5 anymore. We shall see. From Kenny Lester, the Raider Nation, he has provided some of the most absolute fantastic figures of my custom LJN collection. Now, the head may not be the most pristine ever, and that hurts this figure a lot. But Outback Jack is a top 12 LJN figure for me. And I've always coveted the fact that the Raider Nation always uses high quality LJN figures. They do not cheap out. They don't go for the purple Tito Santana, which is a horrible figure, and a very cheap, affordable figure, right? They don't go for the Iron Sheiks, the Nikolai Volkovs, and the Roddy Pipers, and the Hillbilly Jims. They don't go for your $5, $6 figures. They're going for your $40, $60 figures, your Outback Jacks, and your Harley Race figures, your Rick Martells, okay? They're going for your high dollar quality figures. I like that a lot about their company. The graphics, the playability, the built-on accessory. I think this is an absolutely phenomenal figure. This is highly deserving of a third round appearance. And even going up against a Big John Studd, I don't mind seeing this figure make it to the fourth round. As for Big John Studd, as someone who always does extremely well in my tournaments, always making it to the semifinals, a 6th round participant, am I finally able to say for the first time ever that he does not make it into at least the 6th round? This might be the very first time I'm ever able to put him down and say, hey, he's met his match. Up until this time, Bruiser Brody and Kamala have really been the only guys that he's really struggled against. I just can't do it. Not yet. Still enjoy the figure. Still love it. Like I said, man, this is, after all, not a good figure. Not a great figure. Dare I say, not even elite, man. I mean, I don't even know if there's a level higher than elite. But yes, Big John Studd is elite, and if there is a level better than elite, he's on that list of higher than elite. But Big John Studd does move on to round 4. Cactus Jack. out after 3 rounds. Next matchup. Ooh, this is an interesting one. From Random Treasures, Smash takes on USA Corporal Kirchner. And we'll look at the Corporal Kirchner first. Oddly enough, we'll start off thinking about the original Corporal Kirchner. As a soldier myself, as an army man, for whatever reason, I didn't even like the original Corporal Kirchner figure. Like, I wasn't opposed to it. Like, I just didn't think it was like the greatest figure. Like, the colors I was perfectly fine with. But play pose, But then again, a lot of the figures you look at and it's like, you're not like all in on. Like, I wasn't all in on Greg Valentine, right? And nowadays I'm like, Greg Valentine, one of the greatest play poses ever. So you kind of learn to love them when you start utilizing them. And even though the arms isn't quite as great as Greg Valentine, it's still a very serviceable and fantastic playable figure. And when I kind of looked at this particular custom, it doesn't give you that army woodland camouflage pants that they actually give you during basic training. So it is a kind of like a, I don't want to say army pants. I want to say more hunting pants. So I don't, again, like I said, I don't consider these to be like actual military pants. I consider them to be deer hunting pants, if that makes sense. The boots, I don't mind the green boots. Like I said, if they had like extra color to it, if they added like a little bit of black on here and made it like actual jump boots or actual jungle boots or something, that would have been spectacular. Just straight green boots, that kind of sucks. At that rate, I would have just left it pure black. But overall, at first glance, it was a custom. It's why I liked it. And it's why I wanted to acquire it. And it wasn't that expensive. I was already buying a ton of figures from the seller. Why not add it to the collection? It was a nice figure. Glad to have it. But doing this tournament, I definitely got a much more better appreciation for it and actually enjoyed it a whole lot more. In that first round, I'm like, man, I thought this was going to be like a one and done type deal. And he moved on to the second round. I'm like, this is actually freaking spectacular. This is an incredible custom. Like, even the facial hair. You're so used to like the really darkened facial hair that you get from original, right? So you see that, you're like, this is nothing. But then you kind of look at like my facial hair. It's like, you see it's very spotty and whatnot. So it's like, you know what? It does kind of like bleed in with like how my hair kind of is very spotty. Like, it doesn't fill in all the way right. So that kind of resonated with me a lot. The t-shirt graphics, not the greatest. You could deal with it. Not a big deal. It's a figure I really enjoyed. The brown of the beret. I'm not really sure what that is. I mean, is it like, I kind of feel like it's a more of a European beret. I'm trying to think what brown berets are out there. Because obviously military berets are black. Green berets for special forces. You've got maroon berets for airborne. But maybe that's what they were trying to go for. Maybe it's not brown. Maybe it's purple or maroon for like airborne type of deal. Airborne aerosol type of deal. But I don't know. Maybe they were going for the purple and it just looks brown. But yeah, I like the figure a lot. I think I might freaking love the figure. And I say I like the figure. No, I love the figure. I really do. Do I like it more than the original LJN? That's the thing with customs. Because They're more unique, obviously. Their original ideas, where original figures, it's something that everybody has, everybody owns. You really appreciate that uniqueness, that original figure that you have that not everybody else has. So, Demolition. Demolition's a sad freaking story, man. One of the greatest god darn tag teams of the 1980s and 90s. One of the greatest tag teams, period. How are these guys not in the Hall of Fame? That is an absolute atrocity. Guys came in because Vince McMahon could not get Legion of Doom. So he created his own version of Legion of Doom. He brought in and he created Demolition. Later on, he got Legion of Doom. They got their man, bam, big, great. Now you got these two mega forces in both Legion of Doom and Demolition. Great, it's perfect. The look of Demolition is spectacular. Face paint, leather, this mega brute force, multiple time tag team champions. They were fan favorites, all right. In ring, they were incredible. In tandem, they worked well together. They were a spectacular tag team. Now, obviously, they probably did not stay together as long as you would like. I mean, when you look at a tag team like Bushwhackers that were together for like 4 freaking decades, yeah, they didn't have the longevity that a lot of that you would have liked. I think even Legion of Doom were together for what, 25, 30 years, maybe even longer than that. So they may not have that longevity, but they are definitely Hall of Famers. And keeping them out is straight up BS. When you look at the original Axe, LJN, I've said it before. Axe should be a top 10 greatest LJN action figure from the line. But because his right arm has this stupid punching thing, right? You're basically taking a top 10 perfect LJN figure and you're making it maybe in the 40, 45, 50 range. This destroys action figures. Jesse Ventura is such a plain, simple figure that regardless of what kind of pose you gave that figure, this doesn't really do anything for Jesse Ventura. That's probably would still be a bad figure regardless. But on a Demolition figure, that ruined it. So when Random Treasures came out with Smash, I would have liked if, and I give Random Treasures too much credit. You know, Net, she buys the molds and she paints the figures. She didn't obviously design it, so I can't say Ram Treasures directly. But again, because I bought it from Ram Treasures, you know, that's why I'm saying Ram Treasures. If they did like what they did with like Crush, where they did a different, its own fighting pose, that would have been special, and not something that was mirrored. I still say Ram Treasures exclusive. The Demolition figures, either you like Smash or Crush, I still say among their exclusives, they are still in the top 10 best figures from Ram Treasures. The overall look, aesthetics, the paint job, absolutely incredible. Love the figures. This is what's tough. I like the play pose. I love, as an army man, this speaks volumes. This speaks to me on a personal level. This speaks to me from a childhood and nostalgic level. I'm going to choose Corporal Kirchner. Like I said, I think because from an emotional point, uh, from a from an emotional point, from a career standpoint, not even you being in high school, JROTC, spending 6 years active duty military, multiple combat deployments after military service. I spent over 10 years as a government contractor working overseas. So the constant military service did not stop. That connection to this, I guess, of sorts, speaks volumes. So that emotional connection to this, it resonates with me. So I guess from that standpoint, I have to choose Corporal Kirchner. But there's just no doubt, guys. I mean, come on, Demolition, phenomenal figure, guys. This is a killer figure. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it gone in 3 rounds. But was Demolition going to win this tournament? It wasn't. I would have loved to have seen Smash make it to another round or 2. This is tough. But I'm not disappointed with the selection. It's the best choice for me. It was a tough one. Next matchup, guys, is going to feature Abdullah the Butcher from Random Treasures as he squares off against Tonk Man. Now I really hate this. Are we at 27 minutes? Okay. All right, so I don't know. If the last one was a really impossible choice, I don't know where to go with this. So, a lot of these other tournaments that I make, I guess in essence, they kind of help me out a little bit. So, like, if I make a my favorite Random Treasures tournament, right? It does help me out to an extent with a my favorite LJN tournament because it does give me that extra opportunity to talk about certain figures more often. So it helps me either appreciate a figure more or maybe not realize I don't enjoy it as much. So yeah, like Abdullah Butcher. I think of this Abdullah Butcher. I knew I've always enjoyed the figure, but like maybe I didn't really covet it as much as I once did. Or did I say that the right way? Like once before, I'd probably say it was maybe a top 15 Ram Treasures figure, and then after that tournament, maybe I said it was like a top 7, for example. So I think Abdullah Butcher almost won that Ram Treasures tournament. I don't remember where he ended up, but I would say like maybe in the bottom 6 or so. So he was right there near the end. This is a spectacular figure. Now, whether we're looking at this one or the next figure, the great thing is with 2 Abdullah Butcher figures in this video, it's gonna save me some time because whatever I say about this figure, I don't have to say about the next figure. All I really gotta do is show the 2 figures and kind of talk about the other figure and then make a selection. Abdullah Butcher is one of the most enjoyable characters to talk about, and the man's been wrestling for like what says the 60s or 70s, and he's freaking insane. But he's also a freaking criminal. I hear he's still out there trying to scam people and stuff. I'm like, oh man, what was this damn scam that he was running nowadays? Oh, well, shoot. I just saw that video not too long ago. I gotta look that up and kind of bring it up. If not in my next video, maybe the next time I talk about these guys. But it was something big too. Like he was trying to scam his fans or something. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have even brought it up because now I can't remember what the hell it was about. The figure's great. One of the things I've always enjoyed about the figure is the creases and the way that the pants ride up. Like even the way that like rides up into his butt. the way that with every intricate detail that went into this, incredible. The only thing I didn't like is that there's no slice and dicing on the head. When we look at the next figure, we're gonna see that, and I like that a lot. I think the flaps of the breast could have been a little bit bigger, but it is what it is. I think he looks actually in the face. He does kind of look more like Virgil a little bit, but still, for a little cartoony 80s representation of the figure, I think they did a really nice job. But I like the breast to the front, maybe not too flappy, but I like the little rows in the back, so they did a really nice job there. I think this Honky Tonk Man, like I said, is probably one of the top 10 greatest custom figures of my entire collection. You could be looking at Wrestling Rider figures, Random Treasure figures, Raider Nation figures, the 1J Ruggs figures, Mark Hackenberg figures, Robert Jackson figures. I'm trying to look at any of the figures I got from Stanger GQ or any other customizer or any other seller on eBay, Mercari, or any other seller on these platforms. I still believe that this particular Honky Tonk Man is potentially a top 10 best custom among my collection. The overall aesthetics of it is so well done. I still... And Honky Tonk Man, again, he's another one of those cats that I can actually remember grew up watching. And his Hasbro figure is one of those figures that I actually remember having as a kid. So, Honky Tonk Man means a freaking lot to me, you know? But even though he's someone I remember watching when I was younger, because I saw him when I was younger, I don't really remember him as much because I was younger. Obviously, if you see someone when you're like 6 years old, and then you see someone when you're 9 years old, yeah, you're going to remember someone when you're 9 because you're older. And you can recall that better. I like the Honky Tonk Man as a more playable wrestling action figure. Actually, maybe not, because Abdullah Butcher does have that awesome choke slam that I love, and you get him in the chokehold, and you start getting those little jabs and stuff. I think Abdullah Butcher, you get him into a ring, and you start using these little wrestling matches. I think you really could use him as a nice, fun, playable wrestling action figure. I don't know, man. This is another one of those figures that I think always does extremely well. I don't think Honky Tonk Man is ever... I don't think this is ever one of those figures I'm going to look at and be like, hey, this is a contender to win my tournament. I know he's not. I know Honky Tonk Man, not an original, none of my customs. I know they will never win my tournament. That's not even in question. It's just a great figure that I know is not a first round elimination figure. I know it's not a second round elimination. I know it's a figure that deserves to be in the 5th round or further. If it makes it to the semifinals and it's among the last 4 or last 5 standing, so be it. Because, like I said, I I will still make the argument that it is one of the top 10 best custom figures that I own. And I can look up and down the 320 figures or so that I own. And yeah, 320 figures when you consider the originals as well. But this hurts a lot. I am going to keep Abdullah the Butcher in this tournament. Abby is going to move on to round 3. I don't know. I can't guarantee the previous tournaments, but if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But I believe in the previous 2 tournaments, I believe this figure was a 5th rounder both times. And again, I could be wrong. He could be a 5th rounder and then a 4th rounder. But I believe he made it to the 5th round both times. So being eliminated in the 3rd round, this hurts. Fantastic figure. I'm sorry to lose him this early, but last matchup are both Wrestling Rider figures. And it is another Abdullah the Butcher figure. And we're not even going to talk about all of the stuff that we just talked about Abdullah the Butcher because, we will talk about a few things. I mean, I mentioned the scars. So, Ram Treasures, they missed out on the opportunity to add the cuts and scars onto his forehead. So that was a missed opportunity. But this figure, they missed the opportunity to add the elf shoes like Ram Treasures added. But by reutilizing a King Kong Bundy, you don't add all of the extra intricate details like all of the folds and rolls of the body. And, like the breasts and stuff. I mean, they did it better. Okay. I think this is resin. So like the feet are movable and whatnot. So like the hands feel movable. So that's what's confusing by a lot of these figures I get. Like part of the figures are rubber, but then the other part of the figure is resin. Like that SD, I keep calling it SD Jones. That Butch Reed figure, is part rubber, part resin, and I'm like, well, do I classify it as resin? Do I classify it as rubber? And I hate that. I'm gonna call this a resin, but it does have, like I said, it does have some movable parts, so it's a hybrid figure. He squares off against Rick Martel. Rick Martel is a top 20 LJN figure. I screwed up during my video maybe a year or so ago when I was trying to do the 11 through 20 list, when I was talking about the LJN figures, how I rate them 11 through 20, and I was looking at my shelf, right, and I had the way that I originally had them situated back when I had them on the DVD case, and because I had them situated like so, right, he was kind of like hidden behind Tito Santana, so I kind of overlooked him, and so I never picked him out. And he never made my top 20 list, which was stupid because Rick Martel is definitely a top 20. If we're looking at play pose alone, yeah, Rick Martel is definitely a more enjoyable go-to character than essentially a King Kong Bundy, right? We're looking at this. I already know Abdullah Butcher's going to win this. Well, already Abdullah Butcher has already moved forward. Do I really want to choose another Abdullah Butcher to move forward? Yes. I absolutely love this figure. A figure that I did not even want the first time I saw it. Or if I wanted it, I just wasn't ready to pay the money that Eric wanted when he was originally selling this. And shoot, today again, it's one of my favorite figures. And I look at this, I look at that Abdullah Butcher, and I gotta be honest, I still think I enjoy this one more. If it comes down to this and that, Abby, I think I might go with this one. There is just so much more happening with this figure. I think I've made my decision already. Kind of holding them both up. I think I like this one a lot better. So, is it too late to go back and change my last decision and push forward that honky tonk man? Nah, I'm not gonna do that. But I mean, you could either go with the model Rick Martel, you could go with Abdullah Butcher, and either one was a great choice. But I am going to go with the Wrestling Rider version of Abdullah Butcher. At 40 minutes, I got to make this a quick selection, and to me, it was a relatively easy choice. No need to sit there and harp on it for too long. Guys, as always appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. And, man, first video in, already enjoying it. And I might want to post these tournament videos every day now. Gotta be honest, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. So, if you guys are interested or all in on this tournament and you want me to post a video every day, I want to post every day. I want this tournament out every day, to be honest. So, let me know what you think, and talk to you guys in the comments. See you in the next video. Take care, everybody.